I'm not making the Deadpool joke again. It was funny the first time. Now everybody will just stare at me stupidly. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Wild from Breaking the.
Don't we do that anyway?
Usually you do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What we're talking about is we did start recording, but we didn't record it. So this is take 2. So, and I'm telling you, like, we're going to try to recreate it, but it's not going to be as good. So, our engineer just cost us 100 subscribers.
I doubt that very much, so whatever. Accidents happen, okay? This is technology we're dealing with. Things bug out once in a while, and that's all that happens, so.
Thank you, HP.
Well, actually, no, we're not on the HP anymore.
Oh, okay.
The only thing HP on this rig is one of my monitors, and I think one of the drives is... No, I take that back. I don't have a HP drive on this one.
There we
Okay.
go. No
Well,
HP.
either way, I'm your host, Chris Wild, and with me, as always, is my band of merry freaks, Eric Batista Sr.
You.
Pay me like one of your French girls.
And there's the joke again. It works the third time, too.
Third time's a charm. Hello.
And Christina Talley.
How y'all doing?
All right. Well, we're going to get back into it here. This past weekend, we lost a great legend and pop culture icon, Adam West. We did do a remembrance of it, and we were just kind of sitting here talking about it. I really don't want to push everybody back through it, so we'll give an abridged version here real quick. We'll go ahead and let Christen. You were saying when we found out we weren't recording about being the baby of the group and didn't really grow up with the Adam West, like the Batman Adam West, like the rest of the panel, us old
Right.
fogies in the nursing home here.
All right, but
So go ahead and continue on yours, and then we'll continue on here.
Well, I mean, even having not grown up with it, I was definitely aware of it. But I was just saying it's such a tragedy because we've lost so many amazing performers and artists who did contribute to like pop culture and geek culture right now. And I was also saying how much I liked that he would make fun of himself. Most of his voiceover work was of himself. I can't take credit for that. Christina totally said it earlier, so I'm just piggybacking off of that information. But I loved that he made fun of himself, and he seemed like such a really good, genuine person. So, and it's always a tragedy when the world loses someone like that.
Okay. Christina and Eric, if you guys want to recap what you said earlier, so that way, you still get it in.
Sure. I mean, it's a devastating loss. I grew up watching the 1960s Batman. It was rerun at that point, but I still grew up watching it. I remember sitting there with my parents, watching it on this, watching it every week, and I loved it. I mean, it was right down to, the bat everything he had, right down to the bat shark repellent, to the batamarang, to the bat copter, to the bat this, bat that. It's right there, even to Robin's, holy blank blank blank. Like, holy tube sauce Batman. Holy maniacal press Batman. It was just great. To the Riddler's, I mean, the whole show was amazing. And we could thank Adam West for bringing us that Batman. Maybe I honestly feel as well that if it wasn't for the 1960s portrayal of Batman that Adam West did so well, that we wouldn't have any of the other Batman movies. We wouldn't have a lot of the comic book fandom movies and shows and stuff like that we have now, because that was really a predecessor at the time. I mean, you had that and you had Superman. Those are the two shows you really kind of had back in the 60s and 50s, as well as, I believe there was a Green Hornet show as well. But it was one of those things that, it wasn't in big, those shows is what built the culture and built the baseline for everything we have now. The Arrowverse, all the DC shows, the Arrowverse, Supergirl, Flash, all, I can keep going on. Legends of Tomorrow. To the Marvel shows like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil,
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yes. I mean, like, we can keep going on and on, but if it wasn't for, like, Batman, even the movies, like the Avengers movies, you know, the Batman, Superman movies, Christopher Reeve's Superman, who's another legend who left us way too early, mind you, we wouldn't have the movies we would have. We wouldn't have the fandoms, the comic book fandoms like we have now. And that's my honest opinion about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Before Eric gives his quick one, it's funny that you mentioned Christopher Reeve, because I just recently today came across the meme that somebody put together, a picture of Adam West's Batman up in the sky and meeting Christopher Reeve. You know, Christopher Reeve Superman up there and shaking hands and all. I thought it was just an extremely powerful picture. So, you know, if you guys on Facebook, you'll see it up there somewhere, and I'll make sure I reshare it on my Facebook page. So check it out. It's a really, really tasteful picture, which is a hard thing to believe to say in Facebook.
All the feels.
And I see some of the stuff you post on your page, so
ignore the other stuff. I'm not talking about the nice stuff.
But yeah, I mean, we lost a legend. Pioneered the Batman series. I think it was just very entertaining, you know, especially a young kid. I mean, God, I don't even talk how old I was, but I really enjoyed watching it, you know, like my grandparents, you know, stuff like that, especially with the lingos and, you know, between Batman and Robin, you know, holy deal, Batman. You know, it was just entertaining, you know what I mean? It sounds like probably one of the first TV series that dealt with like comic book heroes as a duo. I mean, it wasn't a long-running series, but it was very entertaining, especially with the little pop-ups when he hit somebody, you know. It's entertaining to me. I mean, I'm hurt by it, you know.
I mean, one thing I will say as well about the show, like, whenever the Riddler was on, like, the riddles were so out there, and they would always figure it out, and you would be sitting there like, and you would actually have to sit there and try to think about it. I'm like, even with the answer, this doesn't make sense. It was like, I sit up in a tree, I hate everyone, and we'll kill them all. A sparrow with a machine gun, like.
True. Oh. Which, by the way, another great from that Batman series. It was Frank Gorsh, wasn't it? That played the Riddler.
I believe so.
Yeah, another great, you know. Also Caesar. Very much known for playing Caesar in the original Planet of the Apes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Love those movies.
And of course, we lost Cesar Romero, and we lost Burgess Meredith, the Penguin. You know, so I mean, I think Burt Ward and Merriweather, I can't remember her first name, but the Catwoman.
Yeah.
The Catwoman, I think they're like the last two from that series that are still alive.
Well, funny fact, too, about the Penguin, we were talking about that in the series. We all remember his infamous rah, 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 rah. There's a reason for that, right? Yep, exactly. He was not a smoker, and his character smoked. So he was actually caught, like when he first started filming as the Penguin, he was coughing on the cigarette smoke. So he covered it up as a quack, and it just became the thing after that. And that's how the Penguin got his quack.
Yep.
How the Penguin got his quack.
That should be the title, How the Penguin Got His Quack.
I like that.
And other fun stories.
No, I'm gonna leave it as it is. It was a poll. Eric put it up there, and if fairness is fairness, Eric won. This is the Legend of the Caped Cruiser.
Eric doesn't know how to spell very well.
Oh,
it's all right, man.
Don't worry about it. That's why I have an editor.
You know how many times I've done the opening crawl for War of the Stars, and then like after we get the video together and up on YouTube, somebody turns around to me and is like, "You put the there twice."
Usually it's me that nitpicks it while I'm editing. I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm done the video, but yeah, you totally misspelt this.
Yeah, so we all get it.
And then it'll take him like 5 seconds because he's obviously looking through the crawl again to see what I'm talking about. And then it'll just pop up on there like, damn it.
Which is usually my response when somebody says it to me. Hey, you misspelled this, or you put the in there twice, or an extra comma or something. It's like, yeah.
Well, actually, it's more explicive, but we're on radiocast, so we can't. We'll let your mind run wild. How about that?
That's why I just gave a grunt. But really quick, I'm to reiterate on my feelings of Adam West. The biggest thing I can say about it, and I mean, my heart crushed even more. I've had a couple days more to, contemplate it from first getting the news. But my heart crushed even more knowing that it was leukemia. As we were talking about before, we've all had people that have unfortunately suffered that horrible disease. And if there's any blessing in Adam's passing that I would say is that at least he went quick with it. Because it is a disease that has been known to drag on, and it's very horrible for those that have to suffer it. So that is definitely a blessing in disguise. My heart and condolences go out to the West family and, of course, their friends for this tragic loss. I mean, he's touched so many people's lives, including us. To me, the biggest thing I take away from Adam is, and his storied career, is really that he really taught us that it's okay to be us. You could be a geek. You could be a goody two-shoes. You could be anything you want to be, and it's okay. And I really appreciate the life lessons that he really instilled in everybody. Maybe even not intentionally, but just with the way he conducted himself as a true gentleman. He never took himself seriously. I remember, like we talk about with the old Batman series, when I watched it as a kid, granted it was reruns, but when I watched it as a kid, I took it so seriously. And then as I got an adult and I realized how campy it was, I realized the brilliance of Adam West was that it was never meant to be taken serious. It was meant to be satire. It was meant to make fun of itself. And that's when I really, truly started to appreciate him as an actor. But I appreciated him as a person and a character since I was running around in my, I guess you could call it, the Adam West Batman underoos. You know what I mean?
Hey, which he still owns, mind you.
They still fit, too, unlike the muffin top leather pants.
Well, underoos are very stretchy, so.
That is true. But, a quick moment here. We'll give a moment of silence to the late, great Adam West. And before we do, Christina, in the editing of the video, I don't know, maybe after the moment of silence, you want to give a quick scene. I got to yell at you for not putting this scene into the tribute with Adam West. You did not put in the scene where he's yelling at Joe in Family Guy to find his light bright
Yes,
pieces.
I did. You didn't watch the video.
Adam one is not in there.
Yes, it is. It's at the end.
What?
Somebody didn't watch the whole video. Busted.
No, I watched the first video. You did re-upload the video with new people in it, so it's probably on that. Because when I watched it before, Brian was the last person that was on.
Yeah, because I had told you I ripped it right back down because Eric recorded and I recompiled and I put it back up because originally the last video was the Batusi.
Right.
And then after that, once I had Eric's, then I needed another section, so I put the Adam Lee back in, which I wanted to put in the beginning, but I didn't have enough people to be able to do, because there's too many. The problem, like I will say, is editing that video, the biggest issue I ran into, even more so than when I did the Chris Cornell video, was there's so many amazing scenes that Adam West did. Even just in Family Guy and in Batman. So many great lines, so many just great moments that it's hard to like sit there and pick which ones to put in. Like honestly, the Adam Wee Light Bright one, it came down between a toss-up between that and the one where he said he's off to go roll in toxic waste to get superpowers. But the reason I didn't put that one in is because he had because afterwards it shows him at the doctor's and he has lymphoma, and I was like, He's like,
well, if I would have chose 2 from Family Guy, it would have either been when he had the yelling contest with the voice outside the window. You want to have a yelling contest? Ah! Ah! Or when he got into the fight with the Domino's Noid.
That one was good. But the 2 I picked the Light Bright Adam Wee because that was just funny. But then the other one I picked because I remember when I first saw it from a Family Guy, it was the beginning of an episode. And I talked about this in the tribute too, but he ordered pizza. The pizza guy shows up and he looks at the pizza and he's like, Canadian bacon. I ordered regular bacon. This, sir, this shall not be unpunished. I'm gonna get my cat launcher. And he walks back in the house, walks back out with a quiver full of cats and a crossbow with a cat on it, and just hears right into the guy's face. And then the guy's running away and he's shooting cats at this guy. And it was just like the first time I saw it, I almost peed myself. I laughed so hard. And that's really how I wanted to remember Adam. I want to remember like the fact he made me laugh. Like the stuff like the roles he played, generally they were funny. They made you smile like, "Wait, what?" Like, and that's the way I wanted him remembered, and that's why that scene was one of the ones that made it in.
All right. Well, at the end of segment 1 here, we'll give a moment of silence to Adam West here. That'll be the most appropriate time to do it.
Yes, and followed by that, I'm actually, for the YouTube watchers out there who haven't checked out the tribute, the tribute will be inserted during the break during our little intermission we usually have for Radiocast. It will be a full replay of the tribute we did.
Perfect. That absolutely is absolutely perfect. So where we would take the break for Radiocast to give station identification and music, for the YouTube viewers, you'll be able to actually see our remembrance video that we made for Adam West. So that's absolutely perfect. Well, speaking of Adam West and his influences, let's continue with the Legend of the Caped Crusader.
Hold on, this Eric, do you have a question? You got your arm up like you're sure.
No, stretching.
He's posing. That way he gets just the right picture. It's an angle
Come on.
thing.
Where's the diamond? Where's your diamond? You got to wear your heart. Was it the heart of the ocean?
Heart of the ocean. Yeah.
The heart of the ocean. Come on, Vogue. Let your body move to the music.
Hey, Mr. Playing Britney Spears.
It's her fault. It's her fault.
Christina's.
Yeah.
I'm like jamming and rocking out, and I was just like, I don't really want to play these 2 songs, but here's Britney Spears, and I was like, what?
And freaking Backstreet Boys.
That's
Revenge will be mine next to Collective. I'm gonna find the most obscure crap.
Yo, but okay. Here's the thing. I'm having an issue with. I'm dead serious right now. I'm having an issue with my radio DJ. That it's not letting me import any new music. The software's crashing out, so I'm trying to fix it. But if I can't fix it by Wednesday, I got to go on the catalog I have.
Well, fair enough. So, I'll still get my revenge somehow.
It's yet again Eclectica. You can't because it's Eclectica. Eclectica's above
Good
that.
point.
Plus, Eclectica will play anything, and I'm not ashamed to.
Yeah. Justin Bieber, baby, baby, baby.
I don't have it, but I do. I think there may be a copy of that one song floating around somewhere. I have to check.
The fact that you even have Justin Bieber floating around anywhere.
It was part of a soundtrack.
It completely disappoints me.
It was a part of a soundtrack, and I just never deleted it because I like to have complete soundtracks. I just kind of it's not even on my playlists.
Look, the only sound I ever want to hear coming out of Justin Bieber's mouth is a death gurgle. Screw that little Canadian.
But I just have one thing to say too.
Back to Saskatchewan or wherever the hell you're from. Nobody wants you here.
No, best ever is, I know we're off topic right now, but best ever was still epic rap battles of history, where it was Justin Bieber versus Beethoven, when Beethoven said,
Oh my
he goes,
God.
you want to be a little white usher? Here, show them to their seats.
I
don't think I've
love
seen that.
epic rap battles.
I do too. ERB is the bomb. Like that, like one of my favorite ones still, other than the all obvious Vader versus Hitler's, would have to be the Ash Ketchum versus Darwin. Because the last line of that, I almost lost it when I first heard him. Goes, harder than the wood oak gave to your mother. I was just, ooh.
I liked George R.R. Martin versus George
That
R.R.
one was excellent too.
Tolkien. Oh God. And Captain
I like-
Kirk versus Columbus.
Deadpool versus Boba Fett.
Deadpool versus Boba Fett was one of my favorites next to the Hitler Vader trilogy. But I've got to give it up. Oh my God, Jim Henson versus Stan Lee, where it gets interrupted by Walt Disney.
That one, I will say this for the record, that one pulled at the heartstrings. Especially when he starts talking about Jim Henson, how he was gone too soon. That really kind of hit me in the feels.
Well, that was it. It was meant to, and then all of a sudden, here comes the big mouse corporation conglomerate. Like, stop with this wussy stuff. You work for me.
Yeah, you go. I own both of you. Get back to work. But actually, even though I would even say, I know we don't talk about political, but even their political ones were funny, like the election time ones they do.
Yeah.
Those were funny too,
I enjoyed
especially how they have
I enjoyed
Lincoln
Trump
come
Hillary
in.
one. Both sides of the arguments were
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, and it's just the fact that Lincoln comes down in both of them and just like schools them all. It's just epic. like Lincoln versus Norris. That was one of my all-time favorite too.
Well, didn't Lincoln do that before, where he came down with the eagle and interrupted? I think it was Obama and Mitt Romney.
Yeah. It's the best line in that one is so white and rich is like I'm running against a cheesecake. See, now we got to get our spirits up. I mean, we are dealing with a really sad time, so it's good to talk. It's good to vary right now and do some fun stuff.
Right. I also like the Ninja Turtles against the artists.
Oh God.
That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Rhett and Link, so that just made my day. I'm like, yeah.
I will say too, Moses versus Santa Claus. Just the fact it was Snoop Dogg was epic as well. Like just Moses walks out, I'm like, wait, that's Snoop Dogg.
Oh my God.
What's your favorite, Eric? You're being quiet.
Huh?
What's your favorite epic rap battle of history?
You know what? To be honest with you, I haven't listened to any.
You got to go on YouTube and check it out. You know me. I hate rap.
I will say
That's
there are some.
hilarious.
There are some that are just kind of missed the mark. Like the worst one they have, I would say, would be Genghis Khan versus the Easter Bunny. I was just like, it's either that one or the Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage versus King John Il. They just don't make any sense. It's just like those ones are my least favorite ones. I will say that for the
ones
record.
that just aren't well paired.
I don't like the ones where it's literally Epic Lloyd versus what's his face, the other guy.
I see the
Epic Lloyd
first
and the other
one.
guy.
The first
I can't
one
remember
was
his
funny
name, and I
because
feel
they
bad,
really
but-
burned. They really burned it on the end. The first one. I mean, he really got burned hard. The point he quit.
The first one was fine because you almost believed that it was almost realistic, but then the second one is like, okay, you're trying to strike at the well one too many times. It's not working for me this time around.
And another good one, just remember, was the Billy Mays the Billy Mays one. And they brought you don't remember the Billy Mays one? Billy Mays, he ends up dying halfway through because anyone finishing the ShamWow guy pops up. He's like, I can do it. You know the guy that looks like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead?
Yes.
All right, well, there you go.
The only guy who got arrested for getting beat up by a hooker.
Well, since we're talking about epic rap battles in history, one of the things they always end it with is who won, who's next, because they want you to comment down below on who you want to see battle against each other. Well, why don't we pick right now? Eric, I know you got to go check out Epic Rap Battles of History. Trust me, it's worth the look up.
I got one.
But quite honestly, who would you want to see them emulate and have a rap battle against?
Laura Croft.
Ray and Jen Urso.
What is it?
Ray and Jen Urso.
Oh, speaking of, that was another
ladies right now.
They did do one close to that. That wasn't an epic one, wasn't it? Queen Elsa from Frozen versus Princess Leia.
That wasn't an actual epic rap battle of history. That was another like a spin-off show, like somebody else does.
Ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But they did do something with Leia, I think, didn't they?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, well then they should.
The one I would like to see, honestly, because I think would be really interesting, would be Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series versus Lara Croft Tomb Raider series, because they're both very similar characters. They're both like almost like Xboxes and PS4's version of each other. It'd be really interesting to have those two go at it.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna do video game
any of them
against
any of them,
I will say male Commander Shepard versus female Commander Shepard.
Female Commander Shepard would own.
Yeah.
No, she would.
Yes, she was. Most
Male
guys
Commander
played female because she was cooler. Then they could have the. I still think, talking about Mass Effect, like how you had the romance things and every romance options. Everyone was like, we want Tali. Then second, they brought Tali in the second Mass Effect. And the third one, she took her helmet off. It would have been freaking hysterical if when she took her helmet off and they showed her face, if she had like a predator face or something. That would have been freaking glorious. Because everyone was like, oh, Tali, and she was like the most hideous creature on the planet. It would have been freaking great.
The Mass Effect version of Medusa.
Pretty much.
You brought up Ray versus Jin.
That's a face for radio.
I'll go deeper. And I think a lot of Star Wars fans will agree with me on this one. If they're going to do another Star Wars one, Kylo Ren versus Darth Revan.
Ooh. But we're going to talk
Kylo Ren versus the guy he's basically modeled after.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to talk about real characters, you know what I would like to see as well? Like, as far as, like, movie characters or show characters? Malcolm Reynolds, Firefly versus Han Solo.
Oh my God. Yes, right there.
Solo
That's the one.
I like Firefly, but Solo would own him.
You don't know. You don't know that because Mal was badass.
I don't know. Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Solo would own him.
That's because you're more of a Star Wars fanboy than a brown coat. I'm kind of split right down the middle.
I'm more of a Harrison Ford fan than a Nathan Drake fan, or Nathan Fillion.
Fillion?
I love Nathan Fillion. Oh.
I did a gender bent.
Let's not get back into that again.
So.
Or we could do Hoburn, or we could do Wash versus versus Chewie. Fight of the pilots.
Wash. I love Wash.
That would be rough.
My favorite.
If I were gonna throw Han Solo in any epic rap battle, it's got to be Han Solo versus Indiana Jones.
Okay, yeah, that would also be
be kind of cool, yeah.
I mean, that would definitely, there would be levels of awesome on top of other levels of awesome. Yeah.
Or Anakin Skywalker or Anakin versus Luke. Young Luke.
Well, if we're going to have an epic rap battle of, like, good versus, pretty good versus mediocre at best, Brendan Fraser's Mummy versus Tom Cruise's Mummy.
Brendan Fraser would own it because...
Brendan Fraser would own it.
We know he would, but it'd still be interesting.
Because those were actually good movies. Like, I actually enjoyed them.
I'm trying to think what other ones would be good.
I don't count that one at all. That is the film that shall not be named. Okay, no.
How about...
all of those, the one that should not be named is the last Mummy movie that they made that they couldn't even get Rachel Weisz for. Like, I'm sorry, if she didn't sign, just don't make it at that point, guys.
Yeah, there was a fourth one.
Yeah.
That was the Asian one where it was like an Asian mummy from like the Ming Dynasty or something, wasn't it?
You're talking about the one with Jet Li?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the third one.
It wasn't well done.
No.
It wasn't well done. And I mean, after seeing The Mummy, I had a huge crush on Brendan Fraser for the longest time, and it just really ruined it for me. You know, I can't forgive them.
I'm sorry. Whenever I think of Brendan Fraser, there's only 2 movies that ever pop into mind: Encino Man and Airheads.
I love Airheads. That movie is the best. That's the best Brendan Fraser movie ever made. Even though Blast from the Past was good.
I do like Blast from the Past.
But yeah, that was the best movie. Like that was a fully. And you look like half a butt puppet. Hey, but we're all rockers.
Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Harold Ramis.
God.
Lemmy. God. No, trick question, asshole. Lemmy is God.
And one for Christina.
It was worth it. Totally worth it. And there's the one for the show.
There's the one for the show. My disappointment in Brendan Fraser was the first G.I. Joe movie. Like, it wasn't his appearance that disappointed me. It was how little he was used.
Ooh. Can we go back to Epic Rap Battles for a second? I thought of another awesome pairing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Bill and Ted versus Marty McFly.
Oh, yes.
I'll
They
one up
just need to talk to you.
I'll one up you. Bill and Ted versus Wayne's World.
Because I like the other one because it's both teenage time travelers.
Oh, good point.
So they have that link.
But because it's 2 against 1, we got to throw Doc Brown into it.
Oh, of course they got to bring back
That's fair.
Doc Brown.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, as long as we get some sort of hybrid of a telephone DeLorean in the end. Telephone booth DeLorean.
And then at the end, you know, the Doctor could show up at the end in the TARDIS.
You gotta come back to me. Back to the future.
Wait. No, I got the way it ends. You got Bill and Ted versus Marty McFly and Doc Brown. And then out of nowhere comes the DeLorean, and the door opens up, and out pops Abraham Lincoln, who was one of the history people that Bill and Ted gripped in the first movie.
And he starts busting out his like epic raps like he always does. Because I'm sorry, anytime Lincoln shows up, he owns.
Yeah.
Like he even owned Chuck Norris. Let's be honest, he completely owns Chuck Norris.
Well, I mean, he is Abraham Lincoln, so.
And in fact. It's like, well, you block. Uh-oh.
No, it just popped into my head.
What? What just popped in there?
Well, let me just explain. Back to the Future, okay? We all seen it, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know there's 2 versions of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they say that how it's related to 9/11. And I watched it, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Wait, I don't know anything about this.
Right.
I don't know if I want to touch this.
Okay, 2 towers, right? The mall was called 2 Pine Mall. Then they had to change it to 1 Pine Mall.
Yeah, because he ran over the pine when they tried to shoot him.
But
Right, so Lone Pine Tree Mall, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then on the display, when they first showed it, it said 9/11.
That I never caught. I
have to rewatch those now to see that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube, and it's on there too, because that's where I caught it at. I was like, hey, let me see this.
How about
Yeah.
Shatner Kirk versus Pine Kirk?
Only if Shatner Kirk is performed like William Shatner does his spoken word stuff.
Only if William Shatner actually plays Shatner Kirk.
Oh,
Why not?
yeah. I was going to say only if Shatner is somehow involved in it.
Or
Well, you know he's completely banned from any of this doing any Star Wars appearances or anything. I mean, Star Trek appearances or anything, right?
Is he?
Shatner?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't remember the reasoning at the top of my head, but yeah, he has no, like, any times, like, even I learned this a long time ago, so it's why I don't really remember it. But he did something where he pretty much got him banned for life from doing any kind of. That's why he never does like any kind of recant characters back to the Shatner Kirk, because he's not allowed to. He doesn't do any appearances because he's not allowed to.
Oh, okay. You're talking about in actual like movies or shows.
Anything,
we're not talking
even
about, like mentions.
Oh, he's not allowed to even show up and like at a convention or anything. He doesn't. He's not allowed to because of it.
And it didn't have to do with
I
the.
thought he was just at a convention like a year or two ago.
It's been years ago. He was in the. I don't know whether it's changed now, but I remember back when STO came out and they actually had Kirk pop up. It wasn't Kirk's voice. It was somebody doing very similar to a Shatner Kirk, but it wasn't Kirk. And my buddy, who's a huge Trekkie, he forced me into playing the game, and plus they beta tested it, so he kind of talked me into playing it. And the thing, and he explained it, it's like, yeah, because Shatner's not allowed to do anything because he really, and he told me why, and I just don't remember what it was. So I apologize that I'm having a brain fart and don't remember what it was.
No, yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to have to ask somebody ask one of my people about that.
The only thing I'm mad at William Shatner is that he wasn't at Spock's funeral. That's the only thing I'm mad at him about.
If you actually read the tweets on that whole mess, he wasn't allowed to go.
Really? That's not what they were saying.
There are a lot of tweets. If you looked at Shatner's Twitter account, he was trying to go and he wasn't. He was banned from going. Like they wouldn't give him the information about where it was or anything.
Which is stupid because that was Leonard's family barring him from it.
Yeah.
Even though him and Shatner had buried the hatchet and
right,
rekindled their friendship. Like Shatner was extremely hurt at Leonard's death.
Yeah, but he wasn't allowed. They wouldn't give him the information where anything was being held, so he couldn't go. So you can't hold it against him for that. I still love his cameo he made in Fanboys as the nerf herder. He's a nerf herder. I'm like,
oh yes, that's the best.
It's like I'm William Shatner. I can get anything I want.
Well, it must be lifted because February of last year, from what I'm reading here, William Shatner is ready to return to Star Trek as an aged Captain Kirk.
So, yeah, they must have finally lifted it. Because I think the last thing he did was Generations before that.
Yeah, I think that was the last thing.
That was a disappointment.
And I'm pretty sure he's been able to make some appearances at cons and stuff.
Most of the new generation movies were kind of a disappointment, let's be honest.
Except for First Contact.
First Contact
was one of the few exceptions, but Generations, Nemesis, those were all major disappointments. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, they weren't.
I didn't mind Nemesis so much. I really didn't. I mean, was it the best Star Trek movie I've ever seen? No. Was it the best Next Generation movie I ever seen? No. But I didn't mind it so much. Generations I didn't mind so much. Really, the only one that really pissed me off was Insurrection.
Yes.
Wasn't that the one where Data actually got the human skin or whatever from the Borg?
No, that was
First Contact.
Okay.
With the Borg.
Yeah.
Well, First Contact, quite honestly, First Contact for me, one of the best scenes ever was, Counselor Deanna Troi drunk as hell.
Oh, yes. I was just thinking about that scene the other day. Time. This is no time to talk about the time.
That as far as Star Trek movies, that ranks up there to me with Spock learning how to curse in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Oh, I love that movie. Like that movie caught a lot of flack. That movie cracked me up when they're sitting on the bus. When they're on the bus and he Vulcan Dex pinches the dude with the boombox. I was like. And freaking Scotty's sitting there showing the guy how to make that special polymer, and he's like, "You're altering the future." He goes, "How do we know the guy didn't? How do we know the guy didn't invent it?"
Right, and he tries to talk into the mouse.
It's like,
"Hello, computer." The mouse right here is like,
"And there goes my hello, computer." Yeah, it was like the old school Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite.
To save, I mean, like the whole premise of the movie was just like okay, but the movie itself had redeeming qualities.
Right.
Or when the
That was
marine
the first
biologist
Star Trek
tries to
movie I
run after him,
remember
runs
watching.
right into the landing gear, the bird of prey, and almost knocks herself out. Like she runs right into the cloaked bird of prey and just like knocks herself. She like falls. I was like, why? Do you see the indentation? There's something there.
I think out of all the original 10 Star Trek movies, I'm leaving out the reboots because I think we kind of touched on that the last time we talked Star Trek. But the original 10 Star Trek movies, quite honestly, I know a lot of people, the one they hate the most is The Final Frontier, number 5, which is the one that Shatner had done. I actually liked number 5. I mean, again, it kind of fell in there like with Nemesis as like, it wasn't my favorite of the series, but I don't think it was absolutely the worst.
There
To
were
me,
Klingons quoting Shakespeare. I liked it.
I will
that was
say, my
that was
favorite.
Undiscovered Country.
I actually do have a favorite Star Trek
number
movie.
5. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And this is
5 was Vulcan looking for God.
yes.
Yeah. I was just confusing them for a second.
My favorite Star Trek movie, though, honestly, and yeah, I do actually have a favorite Star Trek movie. Consider I am not really a Star Trek fan. It would have to be Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan
You son of a gun.
was such
That's
a like.
mine.
I mean, it was great because it continued off of the original '60s storyline with Khan, right down to what's his name? Oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Gato Montalban.
Thank you. And it was just such a dark movie, and it was great. And it brought us the infamous Khan, which still lives in infamy. And as a kid, I saw this movie as a child. And the whole the brain control bug they stuck in.
Yeah.
Oh God, that creeped me out so bad. I had nightmares. I had complete nightmares over that. Like we were talking about things that give us nightmares. That's something that gave me nightmares for a while. Like that little earwig thing he stuck in his helmet and it like chews into their brain. And it was Sulu and what's his name, the captain.
No, it was Chekhov.
Chekhov,
and the
yeah,
captain of the
Chekhov.
Reliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that actually, which by the way, Wrath of Khan is my favorite too. But there was actually a canon indiscrepancy in Wrath of Khan because Khan remembered Chekhov, and Chekhov was not even part of the show yet back in the original TV series.
Right. That's right. Wow, I totally forgot about that.
Whoops.
But
There
quite
are actually
honestly,
a lot of
What are you up to? A B
indiscrepancies.
cup now, Chris? I saw them boobs.
working on it. Hey, I used to have a 6-pack stomach. Now I got a quarter keg. I mean, it works.
I mean, let's be honest though. The boob master in here is Eric.
Yeah.
It's flat now.
Only because you're laying down.
I was about to say my boobs look flat when I lay on my back too. Okay. But no, my least favorite out of all the original 10 movies really was the first one. Just because
with
of how
Viger?
boring it was.
I mean, with Viger?
Yeah.
It was slow. The first one was incredibly
Viger.
slow. Viger, yeah.
Major, yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
Voyager, but it had crap over the nameplate, so they didn't.
Yes, it was Viger.
But, I mean,
Yeah,
that was an
Voyager's
incredibly slow movie, and the only reason they brought that out was because of Star Wars. Like,
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, that you could Trekkies can thank Star Wars because Star Trek was dead. Star Trek was dead. The original series lasted 3 seasons and 2 animated seasons, and it was in the 70s, and it was gone. Star Trek would never have come back. Paramount would never have thought to bring Star Trek back if Star Wars hadn't become a hit.
this is true. I mean, if you think about it, everyone went at... You know, it's funny, too, you talk about Star Wars and other movie releases. I mean, we had quite a few movies that popped out. And there's that one little bet between Spielberg and George Lucas that still costs Spielberg money to this day. And that was the Close Encounters of the Third Kind versus Star Wars bet.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, there was an actual
I did not know
bet
there
there.
was a bet.
Yeah, there was a bet that which movie was going to be bigger, and it's still costing Spielberg money to this day.
Yeah, because
But,
Star Wars was awesome.
Yeah. But if you actually, the funny thing is about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think we touched on this on a previous episode, that there's a hidden R2 on the ship.
on the mothership, there is a bolted
And that's
R2
one
unit.
thing those two do to each other all the time. They do this a lot, where they between Lucas and Spielberg, they'll Easter egg each other constantly. Like even Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's that engraving of R2D2 and C3PO.
And in turn, Star Wars Episode 1, one of the least liked movie, in the Star Wars franchise. When everybody's screaming "Vote now" when they were going to vote out Chancellor Valorum, and they pan the Senate, and there's the ETs officially making ET canon
and putting them in the same galaxy as which in turn totally changes the movie E.T. because now you got to wonder, is E.T. force sensitive?
Oh yes, E.T.'s a Jedi. Let's look at it. He uses the same tricks as a Jedi. Okay, he's using the Force. And, of course, besides Star Wars Episode 1 making his species canon, he recognized Yoda in the movie when they were out trick-or-treating. The kid dressed as Yoda. E.T. turns around to the kid.
Which was another Easter egg at a time. Which was yet another.
Oh, yeah.
Which was another Easter egg at a time. Another throw out to Lucas. Like,
wow, that's thunder happening.
So Pablo Hidalgo, if you're listening, it's canon.
You want to talk about things that terrified me as a kid, though? E.T. scared the crap out of me, and it wasn't E.T. It was when the scientists all come and cover the kid's house in plastic, when they just invade. That scared me so bad when I was a kid. I was afraid that people were going to come in biosuits and put me in a plastic room and take me from my parents. Why this was the terror, I'm not sure, but it was.
The part that really got me in E.T., it really messed me up, honestly, was the part where the brother leaves to go try to find E.T. after E.T. vanished, and he finds E.T. face down in the river, and he's all white, and, like, he looks like... I was like... that really messed me up for a minute there. I was like, because it was such a dark, traumatic scene. I mean, usually you find somebody laying face down on a riverbed like that in a gully, like they're usually gonna die.
Yeah. It does not bode well for survival.
We need to take a break, by the way, guys.
All right. Well, let me throw this out real quick before we go on break. I had my Eric moment you mentioned with Wrath of Khan. That was really my Eric moment. Was those brain bugs, for lack of a better term. Those were the things that, like, I saw Wrath of Khan as a kid too. I would run to the stairwell and wait for that scene to be over.
Is that what we call it now, the Eric moment?
The Eric moment from Alien, when the alien popped out of the chest. He's gone. And speaking of gone, right now we're going to take our moment of silence for Adam West on Radiocast FM. YouTube, stick around for the remembrance.
Hi everyone, I'm Matthew Cruz. I'm from Breaking the Fourth Wall, one of the co-hosts, and also soon to be up and coming Gaming XP DM for that show. Here at the Breaking the Fourth Wall, we just found out about, Realm of the Missing Entertainment, we just found out about Adam West's death, and we wanted to pay our tribute and our respect to the man, one of the men who played one of our most beloved characters for most of us at the show, being Batman himself. And we just wanted to say, talk about some of our favorite moments of Adam West and Batman and the whole series. And for me, it wasn't just Adam West as Batman. It's kind of like, after the fact, when he had, a lot of people kind of made fun of the aspect, but he kind of had a lot of fun with it after the fact. I mean, you can tell there was a time he was very quiet about it, but like in shows like Family Guy and Fairly Odd Parents, they kind of joked about Adam West and the whole Batman character and everything like that. But that's the thing I always liked about him. But the one thing that I really liked him in as, but he wasn't as Batman, he was in a Batman episode of Batman the Animated Series, is actually one of my personal favorite ones because it actually shows his, I guess, the more Adam West side, because they said, according to Hollywood rumors, he had issues when he got out, when he stopped being Batman, and he couldn't find any work. And this is kind of like you can see where he funneled it in the episode called "Beware the Gray Ghost." It's where Adam West and James Conroy, they both played. Well, he played the Gray Ghost and he played Batman, and it was kind of interesting to see that they actually paid respect to, kind of in their own way, to the predecessor to Batman in their own way without saying he was Batman. And I always thought that was interesting because that whole animated series was great, but that one seemed to stick out the most in my mind as far as Adam West's performances, because that showed his, even though it was a cartoon, it showed his inner turmoil in his voice, and they try to mimic his actions, and his actions definitely mimicked his words, and you could actually see that he was being true to his character, both as Adam West and as the Gray Ghost. So that's like one of the things I always remember. I guess this is going to be like the first one of the more tragic years for us again, I guess, because a lot of our favorites are starting to pass away due to time and age. But all I have to say for that is this: if I have to remember one thing about Adam West, it has to be Beware the Gray Ghost. That was my favorite thing that he did as far as Batman and comic book wise.
This place is amazing. It's just like the Gray Ghost's lair. It's almost an exact replica. Let me show you something else. As a kid, I used to watch you with my father. The Gray Ghost was my hero.
So it wasn't all for nothing.
Hi everyone. Today I hit more tragic news when I found out that Adam West has passed away. This is an absolutely devastating blow to a couple fandoms, actually, especially the DC fandom, the Batman fandom, even the Family Guy fandom, which that is a thing, apparently. I mean, he was a great man. He was funny. He had a long career. And it's just, I'm devastated right now. I'm completely destroyed by this news. I grew up watching Batman in the 1980s. I just remember how quirky it was, and it was funny. The movie, I remember him crashing the helicopter. Fortunately, we landed on this pile of surplus foam rubber. Or the shark attack in the movie where, Robin, pass me the shark bat repellent. Or my favorite line of all time, anything from Adam West has done, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. I mean, he was amazing. Or we can never forget too in the series the conversation or the scene where he had to have a conversation with himself, or aka Batman had to have a conversation with Bruce Wayne over the phone, which in itself had its own laugh, or the dance, or in Family Guy, his many just quirky things. Like one of my favorite scenes in Family Guy with him was the pizza delivery guy who shows up at his house and he opens up the pizza and he goes, "Canadian bacon. I ordered regular bacon. You son of a bitch. And he drops puts down the pizza, drops the pizza box on the ground, comes back with a freaking crossbow with a bag full of cats and shoots the pizza guy in the face with a cat. I mean, that's how I'm always going to remember Adam West. Adam West was funny. And that's the way I believe he would want to be remembered, as his quirky roles he played. I know he had trouble getting roles after Batman, which a lot of actors deal with when they play such a iconic role like that. But in his own way, he succeeded with Family Guy, even when he kind of made fun of his previous Batman self in Fairly Odd Parents as Catman. He still managed to overcome. It took him a long time, but he did it. And this is a devastating loss, and I am, like I said before, devastated by this news. And rest in peace, Adam West.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Okay, what can I say about Adam West that hasn't already been said? Adam was my childhood. I grew up on the 66 Batman. I mean, granted I was born in 77, but so was the reruns, but I think the 66 Batman was really my introduction to the comic book world and to Batman in general. And I mean, now as an adult, you look back and it was really, really campy and silly, but when you break it down to its essentials, it was really masterfully done. And as far as Adam West as an actor is concerned, I mean, he was always such like a wonderfully campy person, and but yet very much a gentleman. And I don't really know what more to say. Adam, from Family Guy to Batman it's just a really, really sad day. Today's the day where childhood dies, and thank you so much for all the years of wonderful memories and inspiring all of us geeks and nerds and comic book fans and everything else to believe that it's okay to be us.
Pizza for Adam West.
No! You gave me Canadian bacon instead of bacon? This misdeed cannot go unpunished. Pizza delivery man, prepare to meet your maker at the hands of my cat launcher.
Hey guys, Brian from the Star Wars Canon Library here, as well as War of the Stars. Right now I'm in the middle of wheat harvesting Kansas. I'm filthy, I'm stuck at work, but I decided I really needed to go ahead and find time to get this video out. It's the least I can do for the man. We found out today that last night we lost Adam West at the age of 88, and after a short battle with leukemia. It seems like, excuse me, it seems like over the last year and a half, we've lost so many of the great entertainers from when I was a kid, even further back than that. But losing Adam West, that's one that hurts. He was absolutely hilarious. He was a great entertainer. Obviously we all know him as Batman from the 60s and Bruce Wayne, and he played that character great, and then, throughout the later years, he was, Mayor Adam West on Family Guy. And even though, every time I saw Mayor West pop up in Family Guy, Family Guy for me is kind of hit and miss, but whenever I see Mayor West, I can't help but laugh my butt off at him. It was absolutely great. It really does suck. And it just seems like every day we're waking up and we're finding out another one of the greats is gone. And then this is just another one to add to the list. This one's hard. This one hurts. So, I mean, Adam West, to me, I mean, I've seen all of the old 60s Batman shows and I absolutely loved them. Spent a lot of time with him, not physically, obviously, but I feel like I've spent a lot of time with him. He was so cool with his fans and everything, and it's just more celebrities should strive to be more like the way he was, and he really was a great role model. Guys, man, it's a sad day, man. It's a sad day, and our hearts and prayers go out to his family, and we can't forget them in all this, and our thoughts are with them, and nothing left to say but life goes on, man. We got to keep pushing, and really that's the only thing we can do. There's no way in or out of it. It's just we got to keep going, so that's what we're going to have to do. So rest in peace, Adam West. God bless, and hopefully someday we'll see you on the other side.
And all my days are trances, and all my nightly dreams are where thy dark eye glances, and where thy footstep gleams.
To the family and friends of Adam West, I send my deepest condolences. The world has lost their Batman, the original Batman. I remember with my friends seeing the TV series and the fun, like, bam, pow, and stuff like that. And it made a real impact. And I always really respected the way that he wasn't afraid to kind of make fun of himself and to just have fun with that. And I always respected that. It felt like a really warm way to embrace his fans. The world has definitely lost a great man today. So, rest in peace, Adam.
You'd unhinge me, did you? I fooled you. I kept my reason by reciting the multiplication tables backwards.
I'm saddened to learn today that I lost probably a very favorite TV show actor, Adam West. Adam West from the TV series Batman in the 60s. He'll be very missed. I enjoyed watching the Batman TV show. I remember probably as being a little kid, I used to take a black shirt of mine and cut holes in the eyes so I'd make myself look like Batman as a little kid. So he will be missed. And rest in peace, Adam West. And thank you for all the wonderful years of you playing the Batman. Favorite scenes I loved, especially when he hit somebody, was like you get the pow, the wow, blam, all that stuff. That made me laugh as a little kid, just watching it.
Damn it, Swanson, I want them found.
Mayor West, we have every available man looking for the Griffins. We just don't have any leads.
Not the Griffins, you moron! The rest of my light, bright pieces! My name isn't Adam Wee. Or is it? Who am I? What number did you dial? Don't ever call here again. I guess I told him, nobody messes with Adam Wee.
Ape tit.
All right, guys. What? All right, guys. Welcome back to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I hope you guys enjoyed the Remembrance of Adam West on YouTube, on RadioCast. I hope you guys enjoyed the commercials and music. We were paying tribute to Adam West, and then we kind of got sidetracked by Star Trek and epic rap battles. We never got into the second. We never got into the second part of the news I wanted to discuss. With Wonder Woman's success having 1 week of DC actually being on top, Marvel had to turn around and Marvel and take the spotlight away from DC and release the teaser trailer for Black Panther. Guys, have you seen the teaser trailer for Black Panther yet?
I
and
have.
What do you think?
Are you really asking me that?
Yeah,
I actually thought the cinematography was really awesome. Like, I'm going to point that out because I know very little about Black Panther. So I was just like, ooh, this looks like a pretty one. This looks like a pretty superhero movie. Oh, I can't. It's going to be pretty.
All right, well, I've already done a review of the Black Panther trailer on my...
You did on Trans Geek Girl, but we're on Breaking the Fourth Wall right now. So
but you usually give everyone else credit for... Well, yeah, they just, like when Mario does a review, you're all over that one.
Because that's what he does for Realm of the Mist. And as we're speaking of Mario, he pops up on the Facebook Messenger with like some sort of emoji. So I wonder, just perfect timing.
Sorry, you gotta remember, be nice to me. I'm the editor and producer.
No, you did.
As long as you make me look nice, I'm happy.
I shared the hell out of your first episode. I'd send it out there for everybody. Yes, go check out Trans Geek Girl on Realm of the Mist, also at her own channel, Trans Geek Girl.
That Trans Geek Girl.
That Trans Geek Girl. It's just way too many words for me.
Well, some keep complaining, or I'm going to give you a dildo unicorn freaking horn.
Yay! As long as it shoots out rainbow sprinkles.
I know better than to mess with the editor.
I'm sorry, that was very insensitive. But, no, besides the review you gave of Black Panther on your first episode, give us a quick, what did you think of it?
I loved it. It seems like I've already stated, it seems like it's following very true to the comic book storylines. As well, I love the fact that like everything's starting to tie in together. Like if you notice on there, the gunrunner smuggler guy, he's one of the first characters you see in the trailer. So that's a nice little tie-in with Age of Ultron. On top of that, I love the fact they put El Dorado in Africa. That's just such an interesting spin. So I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. But it looks very well done. I love the fact that they're finally bringing like other Marvel characters into the main limelight like they are. Because even when Black Panther showed up in Civil War, he was there, but he was kind of almost... He was a main character, but he wasn't a main character, if you can follow what I'm saying.
Like a secondary main.
Yeah. And now I think with this movie that came out, coming out, I should say, in 2018, it's pushing him more into the limelight. So we're hearing the backstory of some of these other characters. And Matt was on the show with me when he was also giving a review, and he actually brought up a good point, which I'm going to share here too, that it's like reverse Ant-Man. Ant-Man, they had the movie first, and they brought him in the Civil War. Black Panther, they brought him in the Civil War, and now he has his own movie. So it's kind of an interesting. It's keeping things fresh, which I'm liking. Like, we're already introduced to the character. We know basics of the character for the people who don't read comic books. And interesting fact that Black Panther is a pioneer character to begin with, because it was the first African American superhero. So just want to say that, or not African American, or black superhero, actually, because not even African American, because he's African. But that was the first black superhero in anywhere. So it beat out the Falcon. It beat out a lot of the all the other ones we all know by quite a few years. So it's just a fun fact.
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I saw it. I was really impressed with it. You know, that's really much I got to say for the minute. You know, it was pretty short, so, you know, I tried to grasp it as much as I could. But I was really impressed with it.
Well, it's a teaser. I don't think it comes out until, 2018?
2018. Oh, come on.
Yeah,
You got to admit, though, that whole car crash scene where he jumps off the car and lands on the car in front of it, that was bad. That was awesome.
That was awesome. That was
it's
awesome.
Definitely a movie I'm going to be going to check out. I mean, the actor they have playing Black Panther, I said it from Civil War, is just phenomenal. I feel bad I don't know his name off the top of my head, but you know, I said it in Civil War. One of the two standout characters in Captain America: Civil War was Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, the reboot of Spider-Man.
The reboot of Spider-Man. You know, so, and I have a lot of high hopes for Spider-Man Homecoming because of his appearance in Civil War. So I kind of have the same high hope expectations for Black Panther because of Civil War. You know,
But don't forget that Homecoming's also going to have Iron Man featured in it.
Well, that's because Sony needs to be able to tie into the fact that this Spider-Man belongs with the MCU.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
right.
As opposed to the other Spider-Man movies that have been apart from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
So, but it got me thinking. Normally, at this point, we have our rants, you know, and we pick a topic to complain about. In fact, last week it was Star Trek. That's why it was kind of funny that we got into Star Trek in segment 1. But this time around, I thought we would do a top 5 list.
And this is what
Since we're starting with Black Panther here, and again, I'm going off of the top of my head here because I didn't really prepare for today. I had a rough day at work. You guys who know me, you guys that know me that know I actually have a day job. Trust me, it sucked.
It's by the way, the actor's name is Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. I was thinking it was something like that. I remembered Boseman, but I didn't want to get his first name wrong. So yeah, Chadwick Boseman was excellent as Black Panther in Civil War. So I expect a great performance from him in his own standalone movie. But I figured today we would do a top 5 list, and the reason it's top 5 because we'll hit the best of top 5 and the top 5 worst of comic book movies.
Ooh, oh God.
Now, all comic book movies are open. You know, we're not just going to talk about Marvel. We're not just going to talk about DC. We can hit Kitchen Sink Press, Image Magazine, all the other ones that exist, which means The Crow is up for rating on either one. Spawn is up for rating on either one. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is up for either one.
I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Black is up for either one. But give yourselves a second here and think about we'll start with the best. Top 5 all-time best comic book movies. While you guys are thinking about it, I'll give my 5. Because I can kind of rattle them off in my head. Not in any particular order, because if I had the time to write it down, I could have ordered it. But first and foremost, I got to give it to the one that really kind of pioneered it all. In segment 1, we talked about Adam West pioneering the comic book genre into pop culture. Well, this is the movie that pioneered pop culture to allow comic book movies to even exist. and that would be the 1978 Christopher Reeves Superman. Just the absolute most perfect comic book movie adaptation to the Man of Steel, down to the fact that, like, you'll never, it doesn't matter who plays Kal-El, who plays Superman, and there's been some great actors who have played him, but the first person we will always envision will be Christopher Reeves. You know, it was beautifully campy, but it was really kept true to the spirit of the comic. So number one for best all time has got to be the original Superman. For number two, I got to say Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 was an absolutely beautiful movie. The Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, is still arguably one of the best comic book trilogies, even though Spider-Man 3 was garbage. The Raimi Spider-Man trilogy was one of the best comic book adaptation trilogies that have been done thus far. Spider-Man 2 was the pinnacle of it. It was a beautiful story. It was actually well acted, even with Kirsten Dunst in it. It just was an excellent, excellent movie. Number three, I'm going to say The Watchmen. Just its dark tone, its alternate reality, Dr. Manhattan slinging schlong, being on camera, and of course Negan as the comedian. I mean, what more can you ask for?
All I could say on that one, I have to do two things. One, Eric was just rubbing like lotion on his skin, and the only thing that popped into my head was it puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again.
That's what I thought too.
I'm not the only one. Awesome. But no, The Watchmen, like I was saying about The Watchmen, if you ever watched Robot Chicken, the one scene where they kind of had Dr. Manhattan and he grabs the guy after he saves him and he puts him, the guy's on the ground, and he puts him right on his, he's like, save. The guy's like, oh God, I don't want to touch it.
Number four, again, these are not in any in particular order. I got to give it to Brandon Lee's The Crow. Besides the fact that I'm a huge Crow fan, and I know it wasn't true to the original James O'Barr story. Eric Draven was not a musician; he was just a car mechanic, and stuff of that. And he wasn't killed on Devil's Night the day before his wedding and stuff like that. They were out having a picnic out in the field, and I know it wasn't true to the original adaptation of the comic, but it's such a cult, iconic, classic movie that to this day, even though they constantly talk about rebooting it and talking about making it more true to the original comic, you'll never touch what was done in that movie. And what, especially with it being Brandon Lee's last performance. Number 5. I'm going to go a little bit more modern with number 5. I've honestly got to say, I'm going to say Deadpool. Because Deadpool was as true to an adaptation of the comic that you've ever seen. Ryan Reynolds was born to play the character of Wade Wilson. And quite honestly, we were reaching a point where we were starting to get a little saturated with comic book movies, that it was starting to become formula, like, the squeaky clean good guy and stuff like that. That even though there have been rated R movies before, comic book movies beforehand, none had been done in the way that Deadpool was done. And just simply for the fact, though, that Deadpool wouldn't even existed if it wasn't for the fans. They were the ones that leaked the footage of the teaser trailer. They're the ones that pushed for that movie to be made. So my number 5 has got to be Deadpool.
All right, I'm ready to go, I think.
Go ahead, Christina, your top 5.
All right, once again, no order because we had no time to actually write this stuff down and put it in order, so it's just going to be off the top of my head. Two of my choices are the same as Chris's. Number 1 would have to be Deadpool, and that's with a bullet because this was one of the few movies I actually went to go see in the theater like 3 or 4 times because I loved it so much. I had to go see it a few times because it was just amazing. Second one would be the original Superman. The original Christopher Reeve is Superman. That is Superman to me. Always has been, always will be. Number 3 for me. Now this is where my list is going to have to vary a little bit, or is going to vary a little bit. The 1966 Batman movie.
Wow, that's in your top 5 greatest?
I love that movie. It's so camp. I mean, it's everything I loved about the Adam West Batman in a movie. And it's just so outlandishly, like, some of the stuff in there is so outlandish. Like, that's one of those movies when I'm in a really bad mood at the end of the day. Like, I can pop it in. And I feel a lot better by, like, the time the movie's over. Just because I know I've laughed at least 5 or 6 or 20, 30, 40 times by the end of the movie. So, yeah, that's has to be in my top. That's in my top 5. Number 4. Number 4 would be... I'm trying to think right now. My brain's actually farting, so excuse me. And this is actually a little bit off. This one's a little bit off, but I really liked it. It was a comic book as well, and that's The Guyver. Mark Hamill.
Okay. Well, anime works, okay.
And that was The Guyver with Mark Hamill. Even though, yeah, the adaptation was a lot different than the comic book, it still held up, and it still was just a really awesome series. It's one of those ones where it's so far off the beaten path, not everyone knows of the movie anymore, except for when it gets randomly referenced on, like, other shows. Like Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Yeah. Hey, we're relevant.
Yay! And my last one would have to be... Would have to be The Dark Knight. On my top 5.
Okay.
Heath Ledger's Joker is the only reason why. It's definitely not Christian Bale's Batman, but Heath Ledger's Joker, yeah. I'm in love with that version of the Joker. It was just like that psychotic but fun Joker. And that whole scene with the 2 ferry boats. You had the one ferry boat full of convicts, you had the second ferry boat full of normal, like regular people. And he pretty much had them pitted against each other to see who was going to blow who up first. I mean, that was a stroke of genius right there, and we could all see who was going to do it, too. It was the normal people about ready to kill the convicts to save their own life. The convicts actually weren't going to do it. So it was... To me, that was just an amazing movie, so that would be my number 5.
I'm just going to give a quick defense to Christian Bale. A lot of people dog Christian Bale for his portrayal of Batman, and it isn't for any reason other than that stupid Batman voice he had. Exactly. Which I agree, that the voice was hard, but his portrayal of Bruce Wayne and the Batman and having that kind of split personality, but when he wasn't in front of other people, when he was just around Alfred, you could see that Batman was just the focal point of his own driven determination. I actually give it to Christian Bale. I actually rank him up there as one of the better performers of the Batman. You know, obviously not the best, and it does detract with that, you know, like Batman smokes too much. But, you know, other than that, I don't hate Christian Bale as Batman. I really don't. Who's next for their top 5?
Well, let the new panelists get on.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Wonder Woman first because I saw it and I loved it, and it was just awesome. No surprise, that's where I was gonna go. One that no one else has mentioned, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get like verbally smacked down for this, but I really like Batman Returns because I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. She's insane, and I love it. Also, the shiny black leather catsuit, I just like that.
I do like that version of Catwoman. I will say that for the record.
I love that. I like Iron Man. Like that one a lot. Love the Avengers. Like all of them. I love the Avengers. And what does that put me at?
That's 4.
4, and
that's
then
4 if I count all of the Avengers as 1. Okay.
Yeah, all of them. Universally. And what was the other one that I was going to say that I had 2 seconds ago? Damn. What was it? Oops,
well, while she's thinking of it, Iron Man's a perfect choice because the MCU would not exist if Iron Man had failed.
This is true.
I like Iron Man.
That is a very good choice.
I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I do. Love it.
Excellent.
So that's...
That would have been in my top 10. That and the Avengers and the Iron Man series would have been in my top 10 easily. Just putting that out there,
well,
too.
that's what makes it harder, is coming up with the top 5. You know, again,
Right.
we're not putting them in exact order, but I mean, it's easy to come up with 10 or 20, but to knock it down to 5 is really tough, because like you said with Batman Returns, that probably would have been in my top, I would say top 15. But the 1989 Batman would have been like number 6 in my list.
I actually really think
my top 5.
I really think
Well,
the
Batman
worst off I can do a lot better with, because they have a pretty definitive list of that one.
See, Batman Returns was my introduction into superhero stuff. Like,
Okay.
that was the first time I had a Catwoman poster on my wall that had, like, because she had where she was posing in front of the window and she'd knocked out a couple of the neon lights that she had, and it just said "Hell Here." I had that poster growing up, and that was really my introduction into superhero, and I fell in love with the crazy anti-hero. But you know,
It's kind of funny you say that. It's kind of funny you say that, because I remember when the '89 Batman came out, and in my bedroom, one of the first posters I got from that movie was Jack Nicholson's Joker sitting on the beach chair at the beach with the dead models with the smiley faces and all, and the sunglasses on.
Wasn't that the Smilex commercial, whatever it was?
Yeah, it's from the Smilex commercial.
Hey, put a smile on your face.
Eric, your top 5.
Yeah, go ahead.
Top 5? Alright. Pretty much, number 1's going to be Superman with Christopher Reeves. Number 2 for me is going to be the 88 or 89, the Batman, original Batman with Michael
89.
Keaton. Number 3, it's tough between 3 and 4, but I'm going to put my Guardians of the Galaxy at number 3.
Right.
No one has said it, but I like Ghost Rider, the first one. That's there.
interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Anything with Ewoks.
No. No. And number 5 is going to be the Fantastic Four, the first one with Jessica Alba.
All right, you saved yourself there, because I was like, if you say you like the last Fantastic Four that came out, there's something officially wrong with you.
I hated that one.
Well, it is interesting that he even threw the original Fantastic. Although I don't hate the movies, a lot of people didn't care for them. You know, they were actually considered failures, even though I thought they were fine the way they were. You know, I loved Michael Chiklis as a Thing. God,
Yes.
he was hilarious as a Thing. All right, well, you can never have heaven without hell. You can't enjoy a burrito without the after effects coming down below. So now we go into the 5 worst comic book adaptation movies ever.
I can't believe you just went there with the burrito.
Well, in a burrito, out a burrito.
Oh my god, look at Eric's cam real quick.
Yeah.
It looks like a really bad Tinder picture.
Quick, swipe left. Swipe left.
That's because EJ's playing my Xbox One.
Okay, so 5 worst comic book, or, you know, the worst 5 comic book movies. Again, not in any particular order. I'm going to put it in there just because we've mentioned it right off the bat. The rebooted Fantastic Four. You just completely changed the whole entire story of the Fantastic Four. For what reason? It was wrong from gate. It was wrong in the casting. It was wrong in how they became the Fantastic Four. It was wrong in how Doom became Doom. It was a complete cluster from gate. Absolute horrible movie. Second horrible movie on my list I gotta give is Batman and Robin. Just the cheesy puns and the and the horrible acting. And again, the only thing positive I can give to it, being a teenager at the time that it came out, was Alicia Silverstone in tight black rubber was definitely a bonus. But it was detracted by the bat nipples of George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell. So
interesting fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze costume is like an hour away from me.
Really?
Yeah, they keep him in the salt mines in Hutchinson. I've seen it a couple times. He's not as tall as you would think. Like, you'd think that thing would be so much bigger, and it seems short to me.
Oh, so they actually have it on display. I'm thinking.
Yeah, like it's out on display. But they also have the noisy cricket from Men in Black.
Ah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you're ever in Kansas, go to the salt mines in Hutch. It's lots of cool stuff.
There you go. So what was that? That was number 2.
Number 2.
Or was that number 3?
3, I think. Batman and Robin.
Fantastic
Batman and
Four.
Robin. Fantastic Four.
2.
Was the reboot?
It was 2.
Okay. Number 3 then. Number 3.
We graduated high school.
Shaq's Steel. Nobody remembers this movie.
I probably blocked it out of my memory.
Shaq starred in a movie of being the, I guess you could kind of say the cybernetic Superman Steel. But it was not even anywhere near the cybernetic Superman Steel. It was him who kind of became a cyborg and was swinging around a sledgehammer. It was a horrible freaking movie. Look at it. It's worth watching at least once just to laugh at.
Are you talking about the Shaquille O'Neal one? Steel? That one?
Yeah, that's I said Shaq. It's Shaquille O'Neal.
I was like trying to understand who the hell you're saying.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal Steel.
Oh, okay.
You remember it.
Oh, I know.
And of course, once you talk about the birth of horrible movies, you got to talk about the afterbirth. Number 4, Catwoman.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry's Catwoman, which had absolutely nothing to do with the Tim Burton universe Batman that was existing. The Tim Burton Schumacher universe that was existing. Had nothing to do with the character that Michelle Pfeiffer had set up. It was. I can't even find the nicest thing in the world to say about it at all. I mean, it belongs in a landfill right next to the cartridges of E.T. from the Atari 2600.
Hey, be nice. I actually have a pretty decent condition cartridge for E.T.
Yeah, I bet you have a pretty decent copy of a Catwoman on your shelf too.
Actually, no, I do not. I don't think I do. No, I don't.
Wait, let me just double check.
My number 5, Elektra.
Yeah.
Elektra was just all right. A lot of people battle and argue over Daredevil, the original Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. I don't think it was as terrible as people make it out to be. But the worst thing that Daredevil movie did was it spawned Elektra, which was just a flaming pile of dog.
Chris, you should have your lips moving. You should just have your lips moving while he was making the beeping noise. It would have been perfect.
Trust me, you guys can sit there and make all the beep noises you want. It'll pretty much sum up like what I'm thinking about Elektra. I actually hate Elektra more than Catwoman. Like, if we were actually putting this into numerical order, Elektra would be number 1 as the worst comic book movie of all time to me. It was that much of a cluster. But that's my 5. Who wants to go next? I'm curious to hear where they want to go. All right, Christina, go ahead.
All right, this one's actually not hard. One of them would be Superman Episode 4.
The Quest for Peace. Nuclear Man.
Oh yeah. I don't think I need to say any more about that right there. You just summed it up. Nuclear Man. What was that? You had no audio.
I said I loved that movie.
I hated that movie. It was so bad. Elektra, of course, because that movie was an abortion, literally. Like, if it came down to getting a 2-hour root canal with that anesthesia or watching that movie again, it'd probably be the root canal.
I bet it would win more Academy Awards.
Probably. Because I'm awesome. Actually, this one, it's probably not going to get called out again, but I have to call it out just for the horrendous, god-awful portrayal of Bane, which is The Dark Knight Rises.
Wow, really?
That portrayal of Bane, it sounded like a muffled Sean Connery. I really hated Dark Knight Rises. I mean, the movie itself wasn't bad, but the Bane portrayal completely destroyed it because it was not Bane.
You actually preferred the Batman and Robin Bane better?
I prefer the real Bane. Okay, the real Bane. Which, like the Arkham Asylum Bane.
Yeah, but you're talking about a comic book. We're talking about movies.
Well, Arkham Asylum is a video game. But that's the real premise of Bane. Bane didn't have a respirator because he couldn't breathe anymore. Okay? The Venom was something completely different. Like, no. You guys, they totally took the whole character of Venom and went, oh, let's do this. Hold on. There, eat that crap. No. That irritates the crap out of me. Like, that just for that reason. It would have been an excellent movie if they just made Bane a different character. Like, made him maybe a new character. Like,
well, in fairness, Venom wouldn't have worked in the Nolan universe because of the fact that they were trying to be more realistic, and we know things like Venom would not exist for Bane to exist. So, but I agree with you. There could have been other choices of villains they could have used other than Bane.
Exactly. That was.
But I didn't hate Tom Hardy's performance as Bane.
Well, I did enough for. Next one was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh. Now that's hurtful.
And it's a shame too because I love Sean Connery, but I just found the movie incredibly hard to watch. As far as like it was just incredible. I mean, even though yes, some of the effects on the car was amazing. Nemo's like some of the stuff was amazing. Okay, I won't get that twisted. But at the same time, the movie for me was incredibly hard to watch at times. It was just.
It was terribly written.
Yes, I think that's a lot what it was. Written. I mean, it was just it had potential and they blew it. So I think that was number 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, number 4 would be. I'm gonna think now. Catwoman would definitely be on that list because that Halle Berry performance was god awful. It truly was. That whole movie it's up there. And then the last but not least, I have to go my number 1 choice because worse than Elektra, worse than everything else combined, still has to be that freaking Fantastic Four movie. The reboot. I think it was like what year? I think it was 2000. It was fairly recent.
It's like a year or two ago.
2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, as I think Brian Miller stated before when we talked about it, it is literally the only movie I've ever seen with an actual derail point. And he was right. It is like literally, it's like somebody took the tracks out and the train just rolled off the hill. Okay, it's like they almost set that movie up like sabotage, or like. They sabotaged the movie, like almost like an FU to Stan Lee. I don't know, but either way, yeah, I can't stand that movie at all. So there's my choices.
All right, Kristen.
Okay. Let's see, the one I really hate the first. I really, really hate. I think it's Batman Begins, the first of the Nolan reboots. I hate that. I hate that movie so much.
Wow.
Like, I just can't stand it. Well, they're in no particular order, really, but I really don't like that movie. The Superman movie that was made before the Henry Cavill reboots, the one that was in between, that was really, really, really god-awful.
Superman Returns with
Ralph. So bad.
With who?
So bad.
Who was in it?
Brandon Ralph, who played Superman.
So bad. I made the mistake of seeing that in theaters, and I think I fell asleep at one point. I think I legitimately fell asleep at one point during that movie. Maybe that's when the good parts happened, and I just slept through them. But the rest was really bad.
No, there were no good parts.
All right, good. So
no, there was one good thing that came out of that movie, in my opinion. Kevin Spacey's performance as Lex Luthor was spot on. I really liked his performance. That doesn't mean that the movie was good. It just means I liked his performance.
Well, I have a question for the panel after that, Sam, which you just inspired. So after we get through everything, I do have a question. I do have one for you, especially.
Okay.
Obviously, Catwoman, really just bad. No, Catwoman was real bad. I had another one in my head that no one had mentioned. You beat me to it. A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it so bad because Sean Connery. So bad they wanted to like that movie. Couldn't do it. At one point, I just sort of lost all kind of everything that could have made that movie good. Just flew out the window. I mean, if Sean Connery can't make it good.
Yeah, there's no hope for it.
Nah. If Sean Connery can't save that movie, there's no hope. So that's 4, right?
I mean, crap, he saved The Rock, so, I mean, that says something right there.
Yeah. I wasn't really crazy about the first Captain America movie. Like, I didn't hate it, but there was no point at which that movie really grabbed me. So.
You didn't even like Hugo Weaving's performance of the Red Skull?
All I could sit there and do was think, Elrond, no! Elrond, you're not supposed to be bad! I think that's where they lost me. Oh, God, The Matrix. I've seen that. That's another thing that they have at the Salt Museums. They have his suit. I just look at that and go, you were in Lord of the Rings.
This is how as an elf, this is how I love you. I got her.
Eric, your top 5 worst.
Well, definitely I'm going to have to say Halle Berry and Catwoman. I don't even know why I bothered to buy the movie, but I took it right back, of course.
So we have our first unanimous. Catwoman sucks.
Yes, Catwoman is hard.
Isn't that a global unanimous?
Probably. I wonder what it got in Rotten... Actually, I gotta look this up. Now I want to see what it got in Rotten Tomatoes.
My second one is going to be Elektra. The only reason why I bought it is just because I think Jennifer Garner's hot.
I don't care what's hot. A dumpster fire is a dumpster fire.
It doesn't matter. No, she's
crap. I remember what it was now.
Oh, what's that?
Green Lantern.
Wow, okay. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Well, that was my number 5, thanks.
Just on Catwoman, on Rotten Tomatoes, it got 9%.
Ooh.
Which, let's think about this one for a quick second. They gave it a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, and if I'm not mistaken right now, the new Tom Cruise Mummy is sitting at 13.
Oh,
Tom Cruise's movie is only 4% above Catwoman. That tells you how terrible this reboot has to be.
And I'm going to look up Electro while we're at it, too. See, that one's been a pretty almost unanimous, too.
Well,
it has been at this point.
Eric right now is only on his Catwoman. He hasn't gotten to the other 4 yet.
He said Elektra.
Yeah, he said Electra.
Oh, he did? Okay, so that is a unanimous then.
All right. No, Christen, did you say Electra? I don't think she used Elektra. 10%.
I haven't seen Elektra, so.
Oh, okay.
10%. Catwoman beat it out by 1%.
Wow. All right, you're number 3, Eric.
Mine, I'm gonna have to say, what was a dud to me was the Green Hornet.
I like the Green Hornet.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
I actually liked that movie.
I didn't like who they had playing the Green Hornet.
See, Seth Rogen?
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, I didn't care for him either. He's stoner humor. He didn't really belong with the Green Hornet.
He was kind of an odd casting choice.
But the Japanese guy or the Chinese guy, he was a trip in that movie.
That was
Kato.
Yeah, wasn't that Jet? No, that was Jet Li, wasn't it?
No, Bruce Lee was in the original Green Hornet, but this
but
guy,
he came for the reboot. Wasn't it Jet Li that did Kato?
No, it wasn't Jet Li. It was somebody else. Can't think of his name. Damn.
Hold on.
But definitely.
IMDb to the rescue.
Amen. Yes, we fully endorse imdb.com here on Breaking the Fourth Wall.
That's good. You got the permission.
No, we don't.
I don't
Let's
see
be
why.
fair. No, we don't.
I don't see why you can't.
Okay,
talk about
Jay Chow.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
definitely,
Jay Chow.
I'm gonna have. It's definitely Legal Extraordinary Gentleman. I just felt like some of the mixture of characters that they brought into the storyline. I'm like, okay, we got the Invisible Man. Why? And then we had that vampire Lestat. I'm like, what are we doing here? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'm like, oh, this is really throwing me off.
Then you don't forget Captain Nemo, who was Indian in this
Nemo.
one.
Yeah.
And that, which was like, wait, Captain Nemo was never Indian? What the
Yeah.
All right, so that's number 3.
No, that's 4.
Yeah,
Green
four.
Hornet 3.
Wait,
Green
what did
Hornet?
I missed number 4 then. What was number 4?
He went Catwoman, Elektra, Green Hornet, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Again, another one that was almost unanimous. I don't know how I missed that. I spaced it. I'm sorry.
Oh, now we gotta see what Green Hornet got on.
Oh, jeez.
Not Green Hornet, what do you call it?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Trying to think of number 5.
You know, I wasn't really impressed with it, and I thought it was a bomb to me, was Iron Man 3. I really didn't like it at all.
Okay, give your reasons.
It wasn't a typical Iron Man thing for me. I mean, I guess it was the Mandarin, you know?
Oh, don't get started on the Mandarin.
Actually, it's funny while I'm sitting here listening to you guys. It's part of the reasons why I spaced out as number 4. I'm actually having other movies pop into my head that were terrible that I'm actually surprised I didn't put them in my top 5.
Same here, like Ghost Rider.
Like Ghost Rider. Well, Ghost Rider, I'm surprised I didn't put in there because I absolutely hate
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. I cannot stand him as an actor.
He's
I've
good.
never seen
He's good in
anything
certain
I like.
roles. He's good in certain typecast roles. Other roles, like Ghost Rider, no.
Right.
But I was actually thinking when Christen had mentioned Green Lantern, it made me think of R.I.P.D.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Like
R.I.P.D.
It had some funny parts, like the fact he was an old Chinese guy with a banana for a gun, and the other and was Jeff Bridges was was the freaking hot chick, and he got turned into a freaking hot old freaking crazy Asian guy with a gun. That was funny, but yeah, that movie was god awful.
And then when Eric was giving his number 4, which is probably why I missed that he said League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it's for some reason I had it pop in my head. Warren Beatty and Madonna, Dick Tracy.
Oh.
We don't mention those words on this show.
Like, I'm surprised I didn't put them in my top 5 worst.
Well, that is a comic book too. Yeah.
Yeah, it counts. It was a strip comic, but it's still a comic strip in like the funny pages, but it's still a comic.
I can't believe I forgot Dick Tracy myself.
Yeah, same
That
here.
Sin City was a graphic novel, right?
Yes.
Or was it a comic?
No, that was a graphic novel.
Graphic novel. Okay, because I hate those movies.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. The first one I like a lot more than the second one. The second one, A Dame to Die For, A Dame to Kill For, was...
I hate those movies so much.
The cinematography of those movies drive me nuts. Like, I understand they were trying to go for the effect of the comic book, but with the black and white and the random color, but no.
No, they're horrible. They're awful. People keep making me watch them, too. Which is a really good way to make me hate a movie, but don't make me do it.
Before Christina asks her question, since we're on the topic of graphic novels and comic books, you guys, another piece of news that we didn't talk about, AMC releasing The Walking Dead as a cartoon, which is going to follow more to the adaptation of the actual novels, or the comics.
Could be interesting. I've already read the graphic novels, so I'd be able to nitpick that if I ever get my cable installed.
From what I've seen of it thus far, like I've only seen stills, but it looks like they went back to drawing it exactly as the characters look in the comics. So Rick will actually look like Rick, and Carl will actually look like Carl, and not like, the actors who play him on the TV show.
Is there going to be a Daryl, though?
Don't know.
Because they're going to catch... You know very well at this point, if AMC releases a cartoon of Walking Dead without Daryl, it's going to cause massive flack, because he is one of the most popular characters on the show at this point.
Well, look, on the TV show, they're not even really following the graphic novels to the T anyway. There's nothing to say that, Robert Kirkman, who's still pushing out Walking Dead comics and issues, couldn't bring Daryl in and make him an actual canon character.
Except he's already stated that he will not do it.
Well, there's that.
But
he brought a character like a couple years ago after, I think it was season 2 came out. He had a character he introduced that on the cover, he had the vest with the wings and a crossbow. And everyone's like, oh, wow, look, Daryl's in the comic books. And it was not Daryl. Somebody completely different. So he already had his little fun with it. Like, hey, I'm going to make people think I put him in, and I'm not. He already said, I'm never putting Daryl... Any of these characters that were added in AMC will not be added into the comic at any point. He was very clear in stating that.
Daryl and Merle. Yeah, the two redneck brothers.
Actually, no, Merle. I think Merle was in the comics.
No, I watched the documentary. They said it straight out that both Daryl and Merle were created for the show.
And there was a couple others too. I think like T-Dog as well.
No, T-Dog existed.
It's been a while since I read them. I gotta look at them again. I gotta break out the compendiums.
I don't think he survived in the story as long as he did in the TV show, but T-Dog existed. So what was your question?
All right, you talked about how much you love Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor. So let's think.
Thought he was a good.
So let's think.
Yeah.
So let's think back here. Out of all the actors who have played Lex Luthor, who played it the best?
The guy who voiced him on the animated Superman show.
Okay.
But if you're speaking live action, the best was Gene Hackman.
Okay. All right, so we're going to pose this whole panel. Eric, how about you?
I said Gene Hackman.
Kristen?
I was going to go the same route, Gene Hackman.
Okay, so we're unanimous, Gene Hackman.
And it's Gene for the win.
Now, if you want to have an argument, you would pose who was the best live-action Joker.
We've already done this, so.
Yeah, so that's where the argument would be.
Okay, who is the worst? Who is the worst Lex Luthor?
Jesse Eisenberg, Batman v Superman.
Yes, that
I haven't seen it, but I can believe that.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Eric?
The one from Smallville.
Ooh, interesting choice. Why?
I just didn't like him as Lex Luthor.
Michael Rosenbaum, right? What is his
No,
name?
that's the one from Batman vs Superman.
That's Jesse Eisenberg.
That's Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, but the one from Smallville.
I thought it was Michael Eisenbaum or Rosenbaum, Michael something. I don't know.
Okay, we know. We understood. Okay. So, there's that question.
And again, there was no arguing. There really wasn't that much argument.
Well, I mean, it's so easy to figure out. I mean, I'm actually surprised that you actually hated the Smallville, which I never watched the show, so maybe you have a valid point. You know, the Smallville Lex Luthor as opposed to that abortion of a performance by Jesse Eisenberg. That was just there was nothing Lex Luthor about Lex Luthor in that movie. His motivations were wrong. His personality was wrong.
He had hair for half the movie.
Also,
no, I don't care about the hair.
Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Just how he played the character was all wrong. Let's be honest.
Well, he played it like a talentless Jim Carrey.
He played it like freaking. He played it like he was trying to play the Joker. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Which is kind of funny when you really, really think about it, because then we look at Suicide Squad, and the worst live-action Joker of all time is Jared Leto, in my opinion. If you would have taken Leto's performance and put it in Batman v Superman as Lex Luthor, I would have liked it better. In turn, if you would have taken Jesse Eisenberg and made him the Joker in Suicide Squad, I might have more believed it. That's really how bad they were in their respective roles. Both would still be the worst adaptations of the characters of all time, but still.
And you never know. You never know, though.
Hollywood seems to be in this cycle of just rebooting and rebooting and rebooting, so God only knows what atrocities we're going to see to favorite characters in the future.
This is true.
But here's all right. I got a question. I got a rant question. And especially since we haven't offered.
Actually, we're at 51 minutes.
We gotta take a break.
All right. Yeah, let's take our break. We'll be back for our movie picks of the week and our outro. So we'll be right back. Radio Cast FM. Hey, welcome back to Breaking the Fourth Wall. Here's the part where we give you the week movies of the week. Normally we discuss it beforehand.
I broke Kristen.
I just keep picturing that. Okay.
Eric, you might want to turn that vibrator down a little bit. You look way too content.
I don't know, but earlier when he was laying on his side, I could have sworn he might have been playing with himself.
Well, you never know.
Okay.
Now I feel like Luke Skywalker in Heir to the Jedi.
You call him Mini-Me.
Movie picks of the week. 1980.
Oh,
so that's the decade. 1980s. Sci-fi.
I already picked my favorite sci-fi movie from 1980, so now I gotta think of something else. Because I used it before, I'm not gonna use the same movie again, because that's just cliche. So...
One before.
Before I used The Night of the Comet.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna use that one again, because even though I love that movie and check it out anyway, because it's awesome if you can find it, but I gotta figure out something else, so... I need a minute to think.
Alright, well, I'll throw mine out while everybody's thinking of theirs. I will choose the original Short Circuit.
Nice.
The story of a military robot that was struck by lightning and became self-aware and deemed alive, and his story of figuring out what life was about while being chased down by the programmers who created him. It was what Chappie should have been.
Yeah, except for the whole, infamous, controversy for surprise in that movie about a white guy playing an Indian guy.
Okay, well, the 80s was famous for that. We talked about Aliens a couple weeks ago, where Vasquez was played by a white Jewish woman. So...
All right, I got mine. This is going out there because, Masters of the Universe.
Nice.
Dolph Lundgren is He-Man. Point number one. The Skeletor was awesome. Even though the whole thing it's about He-Man and getting pulled into our world by this kind of tubular-looking thing that gets mistaken for a synthesizer.
Robert Duncan McNeil with the curly hair.
Yes. But Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. But yeah, that movie is freaking great.
Power. He couldn't even pronounce it. That was the funniest part. When he gets his sword back at the final climactic battle, and I am the
well, don't forget, he's English isn't his first language either.
I know that, but you don't expect He-Man to sound like Sloth from the Goonies. Hey, you guys!
Baby Ruth!
Goonies never say die.
I love you, Chunk. Only if Eric does the shuffle.
I was very young, and I was born in '82. So, I really because I was a little kid. I loved Batteries Not Included, which was kind of sci-fi. And I haven't watched it since I became an adult, so it might be really dumb now, but I loved it as a kid.
Last I knew, it was on Netflix. It might still be there.
Yes, it
God,
is.
I'm totally watching that tomorrow.
I love that movie. That one part in the movie, I'm going to say this, that one part in the movie when the little baby spaceship things were born, and the one isn't and the one's not lit up and all, and the black guy picks him up, he's like, batteries not included. It's awesome because they used the title of the movie in the movie, and it made sense, and it was just so aww. And then it finally came. Then they got it got it live. I think they jumped it, didn't they?
I don't remember. It's been years, but I love that movie. Batteries Not Included, and people don't talk about it enough. It's adorable.
It was an awesome, awesome movie.
Okay, Eric's video, I'm just going to say this because it's so dark, looks like something out of like one of those survival horror movies, like the webcam horror
Blair
movies.
Witch Project.
Yeah, I was going to say the Blair Witch Project. I'm expecting them to.
Oh, look, the lights are now on all of a sudden.
Not coming down.
Not coming out of his nose and everything.
If you see the little guy behind me, mini-me.
Yeah, I see the creature. It's about to attack you, Eric.
Especially with that, especially with that glare from, I think it's from your Xbox, like shining on the camera when the lights are out. It just looks super creepy.
It does. Well, speaking of super creepy, Eric, your 80s sci-fi movie pick.
I'm going to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator.
Nice.
You be buck.
And it does count. 1984, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Awesome,
Hey,
baby.
Scared the crap out of me.
No, that was 92. That was Terminator 2.
That's right, because that's right. John Connor taught him how to say that.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first one when he walks into the police station and then comes back in, starts shooting the place up, going after Sarah Connor?
That's the outfit buck.
He drives the police car, I believe, in the
And that's where Bill Paxton also had a cameo in that, where Terminator stole his clothing from.
No, he didn't steal his clothing. He stole the blind guy's clothing.
That's right.
But it was in that group that Bill Paxton was with. Yeah. Bill Paxton was the one the Terminator killed.
That's right.
Man, it was not good to be Bill Paxton in those movies.
Talking about Bill Paxton real quick. I have a movie for you guys after that I have to show you because this movie is so horrible. But wait till you see who's in it. So.
Cool.
All right, we're waiting.
No, you got to do your movie pick first.
I did my movie.
I think
pick.
everybody's done their movie pick.
What was yours?
Short Circuit.
Oh, that's right. Okay, hold on.
I mean, I'll pick again, but I already had one.
Didn't you notice, Chris? You picked Short Circuit. That was
Slipstream.
Slipstream, but look who's in it.
Bill Paxton, Mark Hamill and Bill Paxton. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but look at Mark Hamill in this.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, Eric, your point. You were saying my movie was Short Circuit and it's metal and what?
Right, and then she says battery not included. They were made out of metal. Terminator, he's made out of metal. I don't know what Christina chose.
Whatever I choose, that's not even proper English.
So whatever you choose.
I was holding my tongue.
Choose. That's that South Philly. That's that Philly accent coming out.
Yeah.
I chose Masters of the Universe.
Oh, jeez.
Well, the sword was metal, and so was the synthesizer key. So that counts.
There we go.
And Man of Arms is kind of metal.
You know what? I remember one of the things that pissed me off about Masters of the Universe, though, was like Lockjaw wasn't in it. Like the only bad guys that were actually there besides Skeletor was Evil Lyn and Beastman.
Yeah.
The rest of them were just like
made
up guys.
Who's the one with the flip face? The one with the face would rotate around.
Manny Faces. Yeah, it was a horrible name, but yeah, Manny Faces.
But yeah, Man of Arms was in it at least.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, at least they didn't put in Battle Cat.
I love Battle Cat. Cringer was awesome.
What was? Well, I'm actually surprised. Like we were talking like 80s sci-fi, and I know that like Star Wars and Star Trek were kind of off limits because it was too easy. I'm actually surprised none of us went Willow.
Willow's more fantasy.
Yeah, I wouldn't really. It's not sci-fi.
Because had you said fantasy, I would have given you like 20.
Yeah, right.
That were my favorites.
I'll be honest. I was kind of inspired by the fantasy thing during the epic rap battle, or the sci-fi thing during the epic rap battles of history, where we talked about Bill and Ted versus Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted versus Marty McFly.
That's what made me start thinking, ooh, 80s sci-fi.
All right, we need to get on that. Let's start flooding their channel with
What's that?
Let's start flooding your channel. Marty McFly versus Bill and Ted. Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna put this episode in the comment section of every epic rap battles of history video.
Let's do it.
They only got like what 400 videos or something. Christen, where can they find you if they want to get a hold of you?
They can find me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. Usually just look up Christen Stovall and there I'll be.
All right. Eric, where can they find you?
You can find me at Eric J. Batista Sr. on Facebook and also on the Xbox One at Smoke1437.
Christina.
You can find me on, of course, Breaking the Fourth Wall. This show, you can find me on Eclectica, which airs every Wednesday night on Radiocast FM, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Also on my new podcast that launched yesterday, was the official launch finally, which was a day late, but actually no, it's 6 days early, really, but which is that Trans Geek Girl. Also, you can find me on Xbox One, Keva Biodira, and on PSN now, which is, I believe it's Biohaze 666, if I remember correctly. I have to double check it because honestly, I haven't looked. I keep forgetting to check it. And I, as well as on Facebook at Christina Talley Warburton. So, and also my YouTube channel now for that Trans Geek Girl.
Well, you guys pretty much know where to find me all the time. Radiocast FM and Realm of the Mist.com. That'll be the easiest ways to find me there. I do want to mention real quick that Mario has just uploaded his reviews of Captain Underpants and the Mummy to Realm of the Mist YouTube. So make sure you go check those out.
I can't believe he actually watched Captain Underpants to do a review. That's dedication right there.
Well, as soon as we're done recording, I'm going to go look at that review. I want to hear his review of Captain Underpants.
I'm going to join you on that one. I'm serious. I need to go to bed, but I need to watch this.
Also, like Christina said, she did just launch that Trans Geek Girl. Of course, we got War of the Stars coming this Friday, and on the Realm of the Mist channel. Gaming XP is about a week away with Matt Cruz. So make sure you're checking that out. And I will slightly tease here. Christen Stovall and I have been in talks where she tells me a friend of hers has an idea for a show who has not contacted me yet.
She couldn't today. She was really busy. So.
All right, but she has an idea for a gaming show that will be brought to Realm of the Mist, and we're going to check it out and might be having yet another show up here. And also, we are greenlit for August 5th. I will throw the announcement now. For August 5th, Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, we will be at Brave New World Comics and Collectibles doing a Breaking the Fourth Wall. It is still in talks on whether it's going to be an all-day Radiocast FM show. That details will come as they come. But I can at least officially announce that Breaking the Fourth Wall will be at Brave New World August 5th. So check back for more details, guys.
Yep, that means that, once again, I know I will be there. Matt has every intention of being there as well, so we'll be doing Trek, another 2-3 hour trek up to Pennsylvania for this, and that also means another road trip footage video.
Nice.
Oh, come on, the last one was great.
Just keep the illegal substances out of camera this time.
Yeah, don't yell at me. I had nothing to do with that. Matt.
It's a family show.
Oh, yeah.
It's a family establishment, not a place to establish families. On that note, guys, thank you very much for checking us out. Radiocast FM, you know we love you. Keep checking in every week. We got more and more coming. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Good night.
Night.